All right, y'all. So this is my part two of my Burr months Proxmox rebuild and Homelab rebuild. This is the video I wish I would have had when I got started in home labbing. And the one thing that always confused me is how do I get everything set up? How do I plan for the future? How do I do all these things? The first thing I did, I installed Proxmox on a computer, and then I installed a VM, and then I wanted to get a firewall in there, and I wanted to do all these things. But I wanted to use as little resources as I could. I do have two big servers out in the garage, and they take up a lot of space, and I want to change that or downsize from that to one of these little mini PCs. I actually have about five of them. Um, I got them on eBay for like 400 bucks. So these are Dell OptiPlex 7050s. They have 16 gigs of RAM, a 500 gig NVMe, and a 250 gig SSD in there. Also, on the one that we did work on my previous video, which you can see up in here somewhere, I put in this one, I put a dual NIC, so I just hooked it to the wireless M.2 and then ported it over. And I've got this network or this Ethernet cable plugged directly into my computer. So this Proxmox server right now does not have fully full internet access. It can't get out to the internet, it can't do anything. We're going to change that in this video. We are actually going to set up a firewall. That way we can protect our Proxmox server, but also we can protect our laptop because we're directly hardwired in. And later, as we go into this, we're going to test a lot of things. We're going to be able to build this network out, and you don't have to put it into production in your house and break the whole entire internet for everybody that lives in your home. Because trust me, that's not fun. You'll be sitting there for hours trying to figure all that out. But let's go ahead and jump over onto my desktop. Now that we're logged into my Proxmox server, this is a clean install. Nothing has been added, no VMs, no nothing. And it, like I said, it doesn't have internet access, so I haven't done any of the app updates or anything. But we need to get our firewall set up so that way this thing can communicate with the internet. And the first thing that we need to do once we're logged into our Proxmox server is we need to go to PVE and then go to network. And if you look right here, you can tell that I have two NICs. I have ENP0S31F6 and then ENP1S0. My device is using ENP1S0 for its connection to my laptop. So that is that 192.168.1.1 address, and that's how I'm reaching this device. And we're going to use that same port as our LAN. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm actually going to type in LAN right here, and I'm going to make this VLAN-aware. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create me another NIC, but I'm going to double click on the one that's not being used right now and copy and paste that. Then I'm going to come up here and go create. I'm going to leave VMBR1 as default. I'm going to put bridge port and I'm going to paste that in what I just had there. Then I'm going to type right here WAN. This does not have to be VLAN aware. So we're going to go create. Now you can see I've got two NICs, VMBR0 and VMBR1. Now, next thing that I want to do is I want to upload my ISO to my Proxmox server for OPNsense. That's going to be the firewall that I'm going to use is OPNsense. This is a great firewall for you to learn on, and it's a really nice one. This will be the first time I've ever ran OPNsense. I've done pfSense, which OPNsense is a bridge off of pfSense. So to get the ISO for OPNsense, you're just going to go to Google and type in OPNsense or SENSE.org. And you're going to click out here where it says download OPNsense. You can come down here and you're going to change this from VGA to DVD and click download. What that's going to do is that's going to download an ISO for you. You are going to have to unzip it. Once you've unzipped it, come and click on local back in your Proxmox server, go to ISO images, and you're going to click upload. We're going to select a file, and mine's in that OPNsense. I'm going to click open and then upload. This will take a couple of minutes, but with having a direct wire between me and my computer or me and my Proxmox server, it's really, really fast. And once you get task OK, your ISO is now installed. Now we're going to create our first VM. We're going to click up here and we're going to go right up here at the top where it says create VM. All of this you can actually leave default, but you need to give it a name. And I'm going to call this OPNsense. I'm going to select advanced options and then I'm going to click next. Make sure this start at boot is not selected. Where it says storage, it should be at local. I'm going to click on that ISO image and grab that OPNsense. For system, I'm going to leave everything as default. For disk, I'm going to give this 64 gigs. I'm going to give it 4 cores. And then also, I want to come down here and where it says AES, I want to activate that and put it at the plus. So that way we know we can use hardware acceleration. We're really going to want to use that if we decide to do a VPN. Next, I'm going to give this 8 gigs. And I'm going to just let it stay at 8 gigs because primarily firewalls run between 4 and 6, but I just want it to have enough resources that way it doesn't have to bump up. And click next, 0. I'm going to select VMBR1 for WAN because I want that to be my first port. Then I'm going to click next. I'm going to make it for sure again that this is not selected, and I'm going to hit finish. Now, once you see that it says OPNsense or whatever you decided to name it, go ahead and click on it. We're not going to start it yet. We're going to come here and we're going to go to hardware. Then we're going to go add. We're going to say network device. And we're going to add VMBR0. That is our WAN address, our WAN IP. Take note of these two. So this is the MAC address for our WAN, and this is the MAC address for our LAN. In your network, because mine just gave me an error, and if you see this error down here where it says error bridge VMBR1 does not exist, you need to come back to PVE or your data center, your node name, and go back to network and hit apply configuration. Once it says done, you'll realize that it says yes. So now we can go back to that OPNsense and hit start VM or start now. And this will take it just a few minutes for everything to get to it. And where it says, do you want press any key to configure importer? You'll let that go through. And then right here, press any key to start manual interface. I want it to say enter right here. And I'm going to say no to this one, so N. I don't want to do VLANs right now, so we're going to say N. And then we are going to go ahead and set our WAN first. And like I said, this one, C4, is going to be our WAN. And the reason I know that is because that was my first one that I added. Come back here. And I'm going to type in VTnet 0. And then for our LAN, I'm going to type in VTnet 1. Hit enter. I'm going to say yes. It may sit at this WAN interface right here for a few seconds. Basically what it's trying to do is find an actual connection to that port. Right now we have nothing connected to it. We will fix that later in the video. So now that it's fully up and ready, the first thing we actually need to do is we need to install it. So right now it's kind of set up as a temporary. You could set this up, reboot it, and you'd have to set it up every time, but we're actually going to install it. So we need to log in as installer, and then the password is going to be OPNsense, all lowercase. Continue with default key map. I'm in the United States. If yours is different, then you can select that and hit enter. I am going to use UFS because I'm going to do backups and manage all my backups through Proxmox. So we're going to press enter. And I want to use that 64 gig. Okay, say okay. And say yes. And what it's telling me right here is it's going to wipe that disk. Now this is a virtual disk, so it's fine. So we're gonna hit yes. And this will take a few minutes for everything to install. So I'll fast forward through all this and I'll see you when it's done. Once it's done installing, it's going to want you to change your root password. So we're going to press OK. We're going to type in that new password. And we're going to type it again. Say OK. And then we're going to complete install and press OK. And we're ready to reboot now. And it's going to reboot on its own in a couple seconds. So once that has fully come back up and rebooted, you'll see right here you have a LAN address of 192.168.1.1. So what we can do is go to our browser, type in 192.168.1.1 and press enter. You are going to come to this page. Your connection is not private. We just installed it. It's OPNsense. It's because we don't have an SSL. We're going to hit advance and proceed to 192.168.1.1. Username is going to be root, and it's going to be that same password that you just reset or that you just set. Press login, and as soon as you get logged in, it's going to set you up with your wizard. We're going to do OPNsense. Our time zone is America, Chicago. And my DNS server, I'm going to just do 1.1.1. And then you don't got to do anything for domain. We're going to click next. Network, we're going to leave this as DHCP. If you have if you decide to put your network into pass-through so that this would get a public IP and you have an ISP that allows you to have a router or a firewall, and that already has a MAC, you can actually spoof that MAC address right here. I won't need to do that. I can do all of that through my ISP. For network and LAN, we're just going to go ahead and leave it at the 192.168.1 for right now. Click next. And then our root password, it's going to have you reset it again. I just put in the same password. Click next. And then hit apply. And right now we actually have a firewall set up, but it doesn't have a IP address and it's not able to get out to the internet. So the next thing that we want to do is we actually want to plug a network cable into the other port that's not being used. Then I'm going to go here and I'm going to power off or reboot. So I just really want to reboot this computer or reboot this firewall. And that way all of the configs and everything get set up and ready to go. I'm going to do reboot. And are you sure you want to reboot this system? Yes. And we can actually go look back at Proxmox and you can tell it's starting to reboot. So now that it's rebooted, and if you look at WAN, you can see that it's got a 10.101.182. So that's going to come directly from my ISP or my already existing firewall. And we can actually go back here, log back in, and we have a internet connection. So we could come back here, let's just log in as root to our Proxmox server or into our firewall, put in that password, and we can type in 7. We can get out to the internet. Let's see if we can ping NFL.com. We're getting a reply. So now we know for a fact that our firewall has internet connection. So now that we got our firewall set up, all of our, by default, what it's doing is it's blocking every bit of traffic from the outside world into your network. So my laptop now is behind a firewall. It's behind OPNsense. I have not done any changes to my firewall. It's a basic setup. But this is the first thing that we need to do when setting up our home lab, because now what I can do from here is I can go get me an Ubuntu desktop ISO and I can install Ubuntu desktop and give it direct access or give it VMBR 0, which would then make it so that it has connection to this network. It'll get DHCP directly from the firewall, and you are able to start configuring your own little network so that you have a really good understanding of how it all works. Because once you actually start putting in, let's say, Plex or a a Jellyfin or Home Assistant or a network share, all of these different things, you have to be able to connect to them. And if you control the firewall, then that means you can set up static IPs, you can set up specific routing, you are able to do all of those different things. So if you like videos like this and want to learn more on how to get started and really set up your home lab, go ahead, like, subscribe. If you didn't see my video that I did last about how I started this whole thing with the mini PC, then the video is back up here. I also do have some really awesome other videos that if you want to go check them out, and I'll see you in the next one.